Okay, so in our previous video, we looked at the basics of algebra. Now we're going to look at expanding the brackets. So we have this expression right now. We have x plus 5, all in brackets, times x plus 2. Now in this type of question, all you need to do is you need to times each numbers by the other two numbers in the other brackets, okay? So that is what we're going to do. So we have x times x, so I'll just write this over here. X times x is just x squared, as we looked at in our previous video. X times x will just be x squared. We have x times 2. X times 2, which we looked at again in the last video, that is just going to be 2x. We have 5 times x. 5 times x is just going to be a 5x. And then 5 times 2 is going to give us a 10. Okay, so all we need to do is just multiply each numbers by the other two numbers in the other brackets. So now we've got x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. And now we can just simplify this down a bit, because when you have numbers with the same variable, the same coefficient, i.e. we have 2x plus 5x, what's that telling us is we have 2 lots of x times by 5 lots of x, right? So what that would be is, if x squared, we can't do anything with the x squared, but 2x plus 5x, that would be a 7x. And then we just plus the 10. So as you can see, when we have variables like that, like we just have variables with the same just x, then we can just join them together, okay? So therefore we have x squared plus 7x plus 10. The same thing could be said if we have something like, let's say 5x squared plus 4x squared plus 2x, for example. Then again, we could join these two together because they both have x squared. So that would be a 9x squared plus a 2x, okay? So if they have that same x value, if they both just have x or they have x squared, you can just, join them together, simplify it down. Okay, so I've got another one here. So we've got x plus 6, and then all of that is being times by x plus 3. So again, x times x would give us an x squared. We would have x times 3, which would give us a 3x. We have 6 times x, which would give us a 6x. And we would have 6 times 3, which would give us a 18. And then again, like the previous question, we would have x squared. 3x plus 6x is a 9x, and then we just plus the 18, and that would be the answer. I'll do one more example. So let's say we had something, I'll put a negative in there this time. So let's say we have x plus 5. Let me rewrite that plus. And let's say it's x minus 4 this time. So x plus 5, x minus 4. Then again, do the same thing. X times x gives us an x squared. We would have a x times a minus 4. So remember, x times a minus 4, as you may have done this before, whenever you times a negative by a positive, you always get a negative. So positive x times a 4, in this case, would be a minus 4x. Then we have a 5 times x, which is a positive 5x. And then we have a 5 times a minus 4. 5 times a minus 4 is simply minus 20. And then again, we just simplify that. So we have x squared. A minus 4 plus a positive 5 is just a 1. However, in algebra, you could write 1x, but you don't need to write 1x because the 1 is kind of useless in this case. So we can just write this as x, okay? And then minus 20. So just remember, in algebra, you can write the 1x if you want to. So if I wanted to, I could just write the 1x here, but it's not needed in algebra. If it's just x by itself, it's implied that it's just 1. So you don't need it. So you can just write it as x squared plus x minus 20. Okay, so I'll do one last question in this video. So what we'll have now is we have 3x plus 5, and all of that is being times by 2x plus 4. So again, you do the exact same thing, but this one's going to be slightly a bit more challenging. So we have 3x times 2x. Now 3x times 2x. Now usually we just had x times x, right? Which is x squared. Now we have 3x, and that is times by 2x. But it doesn't actually change much, okay? All we do is we treat the numbers and the letters separately, and then we put it all together. So in this instance, if we have 3x times 2x, then we would do, let me just write this equals better, we would just do 6, because 3 times 2 is 6, and x times x is x squared, so it would just give us 6x squared, okay? That's it. That's the only difference, okay? It will just give us 6x squared, okay? So we can write 6x squared here. We have a 3x times a 4. 3x times a 4, that would just be 12x, okay? It's just 3 times 4, which is 12, and then the x is just by itself, so it just stays there. Then next we have a 5 times 2x. A 5 times 2x is just going to be 10x again. It's just 5 times 2, which is 10, and then the x is just still going to be there. And then last we have a 5 times a 4, and that would give us a positive 20. And then again, we just need to simplify down. So we get a 6x squared. 12x plus 10x is 22x plus 20. Okay? Now on our next lesson, I will go over factorizing. But yeah, so that'll be our next lesson. I hope you enjoyed this. If I give you an expression to end with, let's say we have something like this. We have x squared. Let me see what I can think of. We have x squared plus 8x plus 12. And what we're going to do, what is factorizing? Factorizing is the opposite of expanding the bracket. So we need to put this expression, we need to put this lovely expression now in the brackets. So that's what we'll be doing next lesson. But I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you on the next.